morning, good afternoon, good evening, o kung anumang oras mga pinapanood ang video na ito. Hello, I'm Maxine, and welcome to ARKI Vlogs! The life of an architecture student. Thesis defended! Ah! So guys, I'd like to introduce myself para sa hindi pa nakakilala sa akin. Hello, I'm Maxine. I'm a 5th-year architecture student from the Polytechnic University of the Philippines, Manila. And ito ay isa sa mga vlog na pinakagusto ko gawin. Guys, isang sem na lang. Good news! Good news, good news, good news. Thesis defended! Hindi pa naman, isang sem na lang. This vlog is going to be about a glimpse of my thesis journey. So, hindi pa talaga ito yung gusto kong pattern. But I'd like to share the good news, syempre. You know, it's time to celebrate those hard works. And ayun. So, later on, ipapakita ko yung thesis video ko. In this vlog, I'm just gonna share what I've learned for this semester. And syempre sa architectural thesis ko, which is Architectural Design 9. And of course, syempre, I have to thank so many people para sa vlog na to. And sino ba? Paano ba? First and foremost, I'd like to thank my mom, syempre. At first, I was really hesitant about this thesis kung gagawin ko ba siya. I know it's a big risk. And syempre, thank you to my mom kasi siya yung unang nakatulong sa akin to gather data and so much more to understand what's going to happen for my project. Thank you din kay Tito Reggie for helping me out. Then, pangalawa is syempre, I have to thank my advisor, si Architect Chan. So, hello ma'am, thank you for those critiques sa consultation. Thank you sa patience, syempre. So, I still remember that day na parang mga second consultation. So, the problem with me kasi, I have so many things in mind. I want to do so much. And with that, isa sa mga natutunan ko when starting up with your thesis, iba pa kasi yung may gusto ka gawin, and iba pa yung you want to solve something. The question which is always being asked is, why are you going to do it? Why are you going to do those solutions, those things? And then nga, I have to thank my mom sa advisor ko, si Architect Chan. And syempre, pangatlo, I have to thank so many friends who supported me all the way. Simula pa man din ng last sem. Thank you kasi you've been there sa mga mock defense. So, actually, I also posted this status on Facebook. Now, I'm starting to see the bigger picture and the truth will set you free. And I realized that honesty has the capacity to empower you and to save you from the bigger challenges coming. So, kapag meron kang mga honest people around you, mas may relief, mas may assurance. And ayun, sobrang thankful ako sa mga friends ko and marami kayo. Ang pangalan ng squad namin is We Rise by Lifting Others. Nag-mock defense kami. Tapos, alam mo yun, parang eto na, bardagulan na. Yun yung pangalan. Alam mo yun, parang it's okay na meron kang mga kaibigang brutal sa'yo. Kasi yung mga ganong critiques, yung mga suggestions nila, sometimes negative or positive, yun pa yung magdi-distinguish ng weak points mo. And with that, mas ingay. And with that, if you have honest friends and an honest environment around you, mas madedetermine mo yung weak points mo. And kapag na-determine mo na yung weak points mo, you're gonna have more time to work on those. Siyempre, marami ako sa special mention dito sa vlog na to. So, siyempre, unang-una is special mention, siyempre, sa jowa ko. Thank you, Gemini, for always being there for me. Sa pagtulong sa akin pag-edit, sa pag-model. Alam ko, mas madugo yung next sem. Kasi magkalayo tayo. And I do not know if how can I survive Architectural Design 10. Kasi mahina yung laptop ko para sa mga architectural softwares.
Ang dol-dol mo, Maxine.
And second, thank you nga pala kay Ate Pau. And isa sa reasons I know I've already said this kay Ate Pau, pero thank you kasi ikaw yung una nag-thesis ng palengke. Thank you for helping me out. Sobrang laking tulong. Next is, thank you nga pala sa lolo ng bayan, which is Kuya Jose sa ARKI Learning Studio kasi ang dami naming natutunan. I have to thank, syempre, yung mga Dota friends ko dyan. So actually, before ako mag-thesis, the leads, ano yun, I cannot really compose myself. So parang sumasabog na yung upo ko. Kasi napasa na yung book and there's no time for the difference anymore. Tapos alam ko may mga mali ako nilagay, hindi ko natanggal. But anyway, thank you nga pala din sa mga Dota friends ko dyan.
Ang dol-dol mo, Maxine.
Kay Kobe, kay Gino, kay Joshua, kay Mano, kay Neil, syempre kay Jemai, kay Nadnad, basta ang dami nyo, basta kayo na yon, kilala nyo na yon, na-shoutout ko na kayo Since share ko rin yung thesis video ko, I also have to thank my jurors. Thank you kay Architect Garcia, kay Ma'am G, so hello. So siya nga pala yung advisor ko sa shinare ko na architectural interior, so and thank you nga pala kay Architect Lagoncin and Architect Cartagena for your insight sa mga critique. Actually, sobrang kung napanood yung thesis ko. So, kung isa kasi nung napanood yung deliberations, I was really, may times na hindi ko alam kung, I don't know what should I feel before and after. Kasi before ako mag-start, kasi, alam mo yun, parang manlalig ka. And siguro sa ibang vlogs, ikwento ko yung mga struggles ko in doing this thesis. And, sobrang, itong ipapakita kong thesis video sa inyo, actually, parang sabi sa akin ng jurors ko, sabi nila, sobrang laki daw ng tulong ng pag-vlog ko. And yes, sobrang laking tulong nga. I was able to improve myself, yung thought process, the way I speak, my diction also. Parang sabi nila is, they were actually really hesitant in the first place. Kasi palengke yung thesis ko. But, my project seemed to be small in scale, but parang may big impact doon sa magiging project na gagawin ko. And yes, meron ako mga flaws, then finish, not perfect. So yun guys, ito na yun. Chumika lang ako sa inyo just to thank everyone. And syempre, looking forward next semester. So, magsisimula na yung thesis journey ko. So, parang countdown siya before graduation. Kahit malayo-layo pa naman yun. Sana matuloy, day. Today, I'm gonna be sharing to you my thesis video. So, merong konting grammatical errors lang naman. But, I'm really open for your suggestion, critiques, if there are architects watching this. Kung meron kayong mga recommendations. But, before I play my thesis video, syempre, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. And this is Maxine who always keeps on saying, keep the passion burning. Public spaces such as streets, markets, parks, and the like play a vital role in the social life of communities. These shared resources are so-called self-organizing public service. Social civic spaces serve as an extension of a community. And public markets, the heart of every town, are an effective way to bring a community together. Palenques are major avenues that empower the agricultural sector, consumers, farmers, vendors, and collective communities. And as existing local public markets have been evaluated in this research, like Maypaho and Pitil Public Market, alongside the interviews conducted, most of the impressions, typically negative connotations such as masikip, mabaho, lacks of ventilation, have been the stigma of these facilities. Thus, all these factors affect the vitality of the place. There are many reasons why people go to a public market. And with the findings in this study, experiences are not usually heightened because of how the space is structured. Palenques should fulfill both the needs and wants of the community. The photo shows existing conditions of Silang Public Market. This initially leads us to the question, does Silang Public Market reflect the cultural identity of the town? According to the general public of Silang, the town has its unique and rich culture. Hence, it's not just about aesthetic enhancement, but also it's important to preserve its history and enrich economic tourism through its market development. Silang, a first-class municipality, is believed to be one of the oldest towns in Cavite. With its historical background from the Spanish Revolt and up to this present day, agriculture has been the primary economy that sustained the life of Silangeños. Corn, coffee, pineapple, to name a few of its primary crops. Silang is also preparing to be a city given its land area, population, natural resources, and human potential. With a formulated analytical framework and statement of the problem, this research answers the question, how can architecture enrich a cultural identity for Silang? Silang Public Market can be of great potential in addressing food security through architecture, connect people to agriculture, and transform as an agricultural ecozone. The old market building should be demolished due to its structural adequacy and other conditions, while some buildings may be retained but repurposed for the project, which is entitled Silang Socio-Civic Multiplex, the revitalization of Silang Public Market through the synthesis of placemaking, which facilitates creative patterns of use defining the sense of place, and multiculturalism, which nurtures existing distinctive qualities and resources. Having that said, agriculture will be utilized, integrated with architecture as a strategy. Agritecture demonstrates the importance of farming, connects in such a way that it puts food sources closer to the people. A comparative analysis of case studies has also been conducted to identify the least and best applicable for the project. For the foreign case studies, Sydney Fish Market in Australia conceptualized openness and connectivity to its aquaculture. The design was able to achieve robustness and variety of its spaces. As for Ruby Public Market and civic offices in Spain, the design achieved an efficient circulation and developed a public space in its foreground. Aside from these typologies, Van Gelder Taste Valley Vegetable and Fruit Headquarters, the most applicable in the project, achieved agri-ecotourism platforms and developed climate-smart agriculture. Food in nature brings diverse people together through its architecture. Aside from the local public markets mentioned earlier, there are still successful exhibits of public markets in the Philippines, such as the Maramag Public Market in Bukidnon, considered as the cleanest public market in the country, which also adapted the local economic enterprises, and the most applicable, which is the Palo Public Market in Leyte, which utilized the courtyard design as an active park and public space. Its design was able to achieve the sense of place, inclusiveness, and improved accessibility. According to the FAO-UN, it's still essential to consider other sites despite of having an existing site subjected for redevelopment. And with that, lots within the Central Business District of Silang have been considered. Evaluating the three options with the formulated site criteria, the existing site and the second option have approximate results primarily because these are two adjacent lots. As concluded, it will be a lot expansion, combining 1.3 and 1.6 hectares, now a total of 2.9 hectares. These are the landmarks within the 3-kilometer catchment area of the site. There are various healthcare units, recreational and tourism spots, churches, and various institutions like the IIRR or the International Institute of Rural Reconstruction. Demonstrated are the sun study of the site together with its climatological conditions, dry from November to April and wet during the rest of the year. These are the existing viewpoints in the site showing the presence of vegetation, active and inactive areas. As for the overall site analysis, the existing site massing demonstrated that it is within a dense area. The site is highly accessible by major and minor roads. There's also a prevalence of noise pollution and traffic in selected areas. As for the zoning and landmarks, it is surrounded by residential, commercial, idle agricultural lands, and is also proximate to various schools which can determine the potential users of the project. As for the topography and surface water runoff, the site is not flood-prone, but there are potential areas that can be of water buildup. Demonstrated earlier, this is the sun path and wind path analysis that is a vital consideration in the orientation in the planning phase of the project. Aside from the consumers, farmers, and vendors, the potential users can also be specifically students and tourists. Analyzing behavioral patterns, it is evident that active timeframes of the users vary. In addition to this, the existing market channels also justify the need to develop a local transport hub not just for docking and delivery handling areas, but also to provide better services for the users from both urban and rural communities. These are the innovations and environmental systems that will be adopted in the study, And the notable strategy, a recent invention, is our solar window, which utilizes fruit and vegetable compost into an alternative energy source. For Silang's present practices, used cooking oil and PET bottles have been innovated as eco bricks. Creative and painted trash bins also contributes in achieving placemaking, while color-coded market stalls help users navigate the spaces and identify various market zones. Edible gardens will also be a landscaping strategy, and this will adopt a crop diversification in both fast-turn and slow-turn crops, achieving climate-smart agriculture. Urban beekeeping will also be adopted, functioning as assistant pollinators for flowers, plants, and will be located in less activity areas. Culture shapes architecture. It can be learned, shared, or integrated, and with these characteristics, it is now time to bring agriculture closer to the people through architecture. Since the community should be the expert, we should let people make places. And with a conceptual framework formulated by the researcher, design inspiration will be conceptualized through form translations, visual symbolisms. Design sensibility considers the sensory significance of various color schemes, and even how courtyard concepts alleviate dense areas, enables transparency and avenues for a state-of-the-art spaces. Design innovations like edible gardens enable a garden-to-table approach, where people can pick their own food, educated about plants, gardening, encouraged to be naturalist. As for Silang, they also have platforms where married couples should plant a tree. This does not just allow personalization of the public space, but also it is a fulfillment of social responsibilities. Murals can also serve as attractions together with interactive public spaces. And in relevance, to provide avenues for these strategies, the form concept required modifications where there can be potential attraction areas, and furthermore will be discussed is its functionality. The economy concept will comply to the standards of agricultural tourism, offering opportunities not just for the farmers but for the whole community of Silang. The sustainability concept highlights circular economy. The architectural style guide will be modern architecture applied with tropical architecture. For the manner of financing, aside from the Department of Agriculture, which assists farmers, and the Municipality of Silang, other prospects are IIRR, also located within the municipality. They conduct main initiatives for climate-smart agriculture in the town, and JCI Silang Catlea on UN's SDG-related projects. Proceeding to the schematic site development plan, the form was modified into this to provide a connecting area because of the irregularity of the lot shape. This also leads to strategic points for drop-off areas. The main location for the thematic parks will be oriented on the eastern side, functioning as a density, alleviation, and transitional space. There will also be connections to courtyard spaces alongside the main building, space for temporary market stalls, especially during cultural events, edible gardens, and other attraction areas that will heighten the experiences in the public market. Parking areas will be distributed alongside the building, considering the user circulation, convenience in carrying their goods, and travel distance. The newly redeveloped car park will be repurposed as the admin building, considering the existing pattern of linkages in the site. The location of the transport hub is at a strategic point, which is the Emilio Aguinaldo Highway, that mainly accommodates buses and delivery trucks. The diagram shows the synthesis of the schematic site development plan. This concludes the end of the presentation. I am Maxine Loyola Naval, the researcher, presenting to you my thesis entitled Silang Socio-Civic Multiplex.